So good afternoon again to all of you. Welcome. Thanks for your presence there. And today we are starting our last week of studies, our study of Sri GOPI GITA, this series that find us today in our 22nd meeting, where we will be studying first verse of chapter 32 of the 10th canto of the Bhagavad. So last class, last Thursday, we finished the whole GOPI GITA officially, verse number 19. Now we will go to its summary. But today and tomorrow, we will be studying the next two verses that appear in the following chapter, which generally is included as part of the GOPI GITA, as the byproduct of the GOPI GITA, if you will, what happened after the song of the gopis. But before that, let's make some summary of the last official verse of the GOPI GITA, verse 19, chapter 31, 10th canto of the Bhagavad. So in this verse, the gopis were saying, or specifically Sri Radha, as we will see, "O dearly beloved, so soft and noble are your lotus feet that we place them softly on our heart breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt. Tonight, with those very same soft feet, you are wandering somewhere in this secluded forest. Are your lotus feet not in pain, being injured by sharp stones, edges of dry grains and the like? O you who are our very life, our minds reel at the thought of it. Our life rests only in you. Yatte sujata charanam buruham sanesu, ina sanai vitasanai priyadadi mahikarkasesu, tenata vimmatasitat yatatena kimsut, Kurpadivir Brahmatidir Bhavanayasam Nadagopi here. So again, the Bhagavad is presenting this contrasting example between love and lust, putting feet on the breasts and at the same time being speaking about the highest type of selflessness, self-forgetfulness in divine love. And as Gurmaharaj very clearly explained, the gopis are offering the breasts because that's the softest parts of their bodies they have available. And they are thinking about how soft is Krishna's soles of his lotus feet. So they're just thinking about providing relief to the possible potential pain he may be experiencing by wandering in the forest. So they're just thinking in terms of serving him, pleasing him. And of course, again, the breasts has to do with the heart at the same time. So interestingly, this very verse is quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. We mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, after quoting the famous shloka Atmendriya Prithivam Thare Balikam Krishnendriya Priti Chadhare Premanam, where the real nature of prem is described in contrast with lust, and as in scriptural Shastra Pramans, some evidence from scripture, this verse of the GOPI GITA is quoted. And in this verse, as you have seen, there is a different chant, different meter, which is called Basantu Tilak, and it's different to all the other 18 verses which are in the very same meter called Indira chant. And we spoke about the meanings of them and so on. But the point is that Sukadev wants to make some difference is here in the last verse, which is spoken by Radha in a very particular mode called Madanakya Mahabhav, the topmost reach of her madness in divine love for Krishna. So in this verse, basically, she's referring to Krishna's lotus feet, Charanam Buruham, but also qualifying them even further by saying Sujata, which means very soft, which even when you say already it's a lotus feet, it's already soft. You understand that idea. But if you say Sujata, it means extremely soft. So poets will beg forgiveness by resorting an analogy with lotus, when any analogy compared to the softness of Krishna's feet is insufficient. So in this way, the gopis are offering their breasts, their hearts, again. Also mentioning in this verse very important things in the context of Krishna's being their life. This is mentioned at the very beginning of the GOPI GITA, in the first verse, in between, and here at the end. So we mentioned how also in different parts of the scripture, main statements of the whole treatise will be emphasized at the beginning and at the end. We spoke about the Bhagavad, about the Gita itself, the GOPI GITA here. So the gopis are stressing the essence of this Gopi Gita, this sense of Bhavamayusam. You are our life. And that's not just a poetic statement. They really feel like that, and they really walk the talk. So the gopis on one level experience a dilemma because they're happy of Krishna putting his feet on their breast, because they know he's deriving some happiness there from there. But at the same time, they're suffering by thinking about how rough are their breasts in comparison to Krishna's soft lotus feet. But at the same time, another concern is there present in this verse. We are worried, we are disturbed about the idea of you being wandering now in the forest and your soft lotus feet being damaged, hurt somehow or other. But we explained how there is actually no danger at all in the Raja forest, but this is a symptom of Mahabhav, topmost peak of divine love. Again, Madanakya Mahabhav, Radha Mahabhav. She's Mahabhav Swarupini, the very personification of the great emotion, Mahabhav. So one symptom is, even though your lover is doing okay, doing fine, you're still concerned about something maybe happening out of love, out of excessive, overwhelming, overflowing prem. So in this context, the gopis are said to be thinking about different possible theories or different possibilities about why Krishna is on the forest walking barefoot. So they are thinking maybe he wants to make us suffer, so he knows we suffer because of that, so he tolerates his suffering for giving us pain. Or maybe because his feet associated with our hard breasts, and now his feet have become hard, his heart has become like a stone, and he's not feeling our pain. But because the Sangha with our breasts, which are tough and hard, rough, or maybe or Bhumi is extending her tongue like a carpet to lick the sweetness of Krishna's lotus feet soles. So different ideas, no? Tasting the sweetness, or Krishna's in ecstasy in separation from us, and he has forgotten all pain in that divine madness. So they are bewildered about what to conclude. So the point is that at this moment, when this verse is invoked, Radha leading the whole group and the gopis as well, they are just about to die by falling unconscious to the ground here. And Krishna, who was nearby watching the whole scene behind a tamal tree, he thought, well, they are about to die. If they die, I die. I cannot live without them. They cannot live without me to a great degree, and I cannot live without them. So I feel totally moved to reappear. Now eventually we'll understand why he disappeared, and the purpose was totally in service of the gopis prem, increasing of the prem. So he reappears, and this is the verse when Radha presents her Mahabhav, which makes Krishna reappear. In that context, it's considered by some acharyas as the most important verse of the Gita, which is in itself a song that goes in crescendo. It's becoming more and more intense as the verses progress, and where Radha's Mahabhav is presented here. So we also ended our last discussion speaking about the glories of Radha Mahabhav, how Krishna himself is worshipping such a love and so on. So this is the point here, no? Radha herself is the one who is able to bring Krishna back, who can please Krishna's desires. Remember, this is Krishna wanting something and the gopis dying for trying to please him. Ramananda Roy said this to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Ramananda Samvad. He says, Sattakoti gopitinahe kama nirbapan tahate yanumani Sri Radhikara guna. So he said, not even 1 billion gopis can extinguish the blazing fire of Krishna's lusty desires. But Radhika can. So from this, we can understand about Radha's glories. So this is what we saw our last meeting. So today, after finishing officially with the Gopi Gita, we will continue with some afterthoughts during this week along some extra meetings by studying some of the remaining verses and sections of the Gopi Gita and of the whole Rasa Panchadhyaya, being the Gopi Gita a crucial part just in the middle of that. So the Gopi Gita finished already, as I mentioned, but today we will discuss the first verse of the following chapter, chapter 32, and tomorrow we'll discuss the second verse, these two being closely connected, generally presented or recited when there is some public reciting of Gopi Gita, these two verses are generally invoked as part of it as well. And there we will find the happy end to the story, if we will, with Krishna reappearing in the midst of the gopis. And after that, in the remaining meetings, we will just give a brief summary of the remaining whole 2 chapters that remain for finishing the Rasa Panchadhyaya, the 5 chapters about the Rasa Lila, chapter 32 and chapter 33. So let's go to this verse, to today's verse, verse number 1 from chapter 32. I will share the verse here for the ones who would like to follow. So there's the verse. Now we go to another meter altogether. We are changing the chapter. So it says like this. Shri Sukha Iti Gopya Praghayantya Pralapantyascha Chitrada Rurudho Susharam Rajam Krishna Darshan Lalasa. So the translations of the verse say, Sukadev Goswami said, Sri Shuka Uvacha, O king, having thus sung and spoken their hearts out in various charming ways, and being very eager to see Krishna, the gopis began to weep in a sweet tune. So, as you say, still it's not mentioned that Krishna reappeared. It's a middle point between that. Next verse will mention that. But here, Sukadev Goswami is taking taking the lead of the whole conversation again. Before that was the gopis speaking. Now Sukadev's taking the word and speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. So we are going back, if you will, to external consciousness, for saying somehow or other. And we are with Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami. So Sukadev further qualifies the Gopi Gita, mentioning how after the whole song, the gopis already were weeping, but they continue weeping. So in the previous verse, they were offering the breast. So what it may seem something distorted, but actually all after doing that, they were just weeping and weeping. So you can realize that offering of the breast was totally in a context of something totally noble and transcendental. So let's go to the word by word meaning of this particular verse, where it begins saying Sri Sukha Uvacha. So with that, a new context is being given. Now Sukadev is speaking directly to the Raj, Parikshit. So Sri Sukha Uvacha, Iti Gopya Pragayantya. Iti means thus, like in the context of, basically, as related above, in the context of all the things that have been said, the context of the whole Gopi Gita. And of course, the word iti will imply something more, as we will see further. But iti means thus, in this way, as related above, etc. So iti gopya pragayantya. Gopya means the gopis. Pragayantya means singing forth. So singing forth, on one side, the gopis sang, and pralapantya cha chitrada. Second line says pralapantya. Pralapantya means speaking forth. So as we mentioned, they sang their hearts out, they spoke their hearts out. Pragayantya, pralapantya, cha, and chitrada. Chitrada means in various charming ways. So it was a charming crying, a charming singing, a charming dialogue, if you will, words. Pralapantya cha chitrada. Third line says, Ururudu susaram rajam. Ururudu means they cried also, weep. But suswaram. So suswaram means, su is like bury, and swaram can mean two things mainly. Swaram may be, in this case, loudly. They were weeping loudly in separation from Krishna. Or swaram means sweetly, like in a sweet note, in a sweet tune. So Rurudu Swaram Rajam. Rajan, generally speaking, is an addressing to Parikshit Maharaj, which means king. O king. We will see some other levels of meanings, but now we are with the general and official translation of each word. So Swaram Vrajam, O king. And the gopis also cried in a very loud, sweet way. And which was the reason for this? The last line says, Krishna Darshana Lalasa. So Lalasa has to do with laulyam, lalasamai, hunkering, eagerness, greed, if you will. For what? Krishna Darshana, for the sight of Krishna, for Krishna to reappear in their midst. So they were crying in this context. So this is a general meaning of the word, the verse. So let's go to some further unfolding of it. In this way, the gopis were longing for Krishna, and at the same time, they were singing eminently, in a very amazing way. Chitrada. Chitra has to do with also with chamatkar. It is something very astonishing. The whole Gopi Gita was astonishing. Remember, regarding tone and tempo and the different syllables that were repeating each other, first and sevenths and things like that, chanda, meter. All this was already astonishing in external technical way. What to speak about the inner content of the song. So they were singing in a very amazing, eminent way, and at the same time they were speaking, if you will, in between themselves as mad women. They were speaking like chatteringly because of the impulse of being out of control, let's say. They could not contain themselves, and so in this way the gopis were crying here in sweet voices. Some singing, some sleeping, some speaking, and some crying eventually. There is some sense to this sequence. Also, we will speak about that. So the gopis sang again. First they sang, if you will. They prattled, and after prattling, they wept. So the idea of they prattled is that they wailed. I thought they were mad. In that sense, they say they are prattling. Like mad woman in separation, divine mad, divine madness. So, and the adverb suswaram, as we mentioned, that which means very loudly or very sweetly and so on, connotes the idea that the sound of their weeping was natural. Now, if they say he was crying in a very sweet way, that means that was not impelled by volition. So that will enter into the category of sattvika bhava, which means involuntary ecstasy. You are not aware that's going on. That's just like a natural outpouring byproduct of the intensity of your heart. So the gopis, it is said by the commentators, the gopis' praise was mentioned at the end of the previous chapter, and their prattle was stated in the chapter even before that, how the gopis were speaking like mad women when looking for Krishna, running here and there. And it said that now Sukadev is summarizing both their praise, their song, things like this, glorifications, and the speaking as mad woman. Sukadev is summarizing both, and he says that neither of them, the speaking and the singing, turned out as a satisfactory means, like to like to accomplish what they wanted. They wanted Krishna to be back, but till now Krishna is not back. So they say, okay, we sang, we spoke, he didn't appear, so they wept. They were already crying somehow on some level, but now the weeping is especially mentioned to imply there is a higher degree of tears, of watery content in their expression, if you will. And what's the reason of why they wept? This is stated here. Krishna Darshana Lalasa. They were eager to see Krishna, but eager to the point of crying in a desperate way. That's really speaks about what does it mean to engage in Lala Samai Seva, in eager field service, really to express our heart, as Rupa Goswami will say. You have these different types of prayers, Tamprarthanatmika, Dainyabodhika, Lala Samai. So the beginning ones will be mainly filled with feelings of submission, surrender, humility, which is already something intense. But Lala Samai has to do with this type of feelings, with an intense eagerness for obtaining a particular desired ultimate goal in a very condensed way. So the gopis here were singing, speaking, crying because of Krishna Darshan Lalasa. they were not crying because they wanted to save their bodies and they were feeling, oh, death is imminent, so we are crying because we will die here. They were totally self-forgetfulness, as we know, even above self-sacrifice. One thing is self-sacrifice, you are doing that being aware, I am doing a sacrifice for this cause. But self-forgetfulness means I'm not aware of myself anymore. So the gopis here are weeping mainly because they want to save Krishna, as we already explained. And that's why they wanted to have Krishna darshan. They want to see Krishna, not to see Krishna. They want to see Krishna to save Krishna, basically. To serve, to please, to save, to protect Krishna from his fear, from himself, from his own desires. That's why, again, the word gopi means she who protects. Gopi comes from Gopal. Pal means to protect. So gopi means the female of Gopal. So pal means to protect. Go means the senses. They are the ones who protect Krishna's senses. In the sense, through the senses, we develop impressions that go to the mind and develop desires. And Krishna is burning in blazing fire of calm. So the gopis want to protect those senses of Krishna by giving those senses to Rishikesh, give pleasure to Krishna's senses in the context of Madhurya Bhava. So Krishna, the gopis are expressing here their calm, their desire, but in the context of protecting him and asking him, please reappear in our midst. We want to save you. And on that foundation, on that basis, they are expressing their own, quote unquote, own hankering, desire. So interestingly, Guru Maharaj makes a contrast with this idea of hankering, eagerness. He mentions that spiritual life is, in his aesthetic Vedanta, this is written in his, that spiritual life is characterized by an absence of hankering. Generally, we have that idea. You have to be free. Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataeva Santa. Devotee is free from kam, from all desire. Here we hear the word kam so many times. The word eagerness, desire, lust, attachment. So it seems we are going back, but we are making full circle actually. So yeah, spiritual life on one end of the spectrum is characterized by an absence of hankering, because hankering is a symptom of those who are unfulfilled. When you are empty, you want to fill your heart with that, but when you are full, something else will happen as well. So what's the hankering of the gopis, Guru Maharaj says in Static Vedanta? Well, the hankering of the gopis is not due to a selfish emptiness in their heart and so on, but it's the full blossom of the flower of love. The desireless tree, the desireless desire, if you will, he mentions. They have desireless desire. They have a desire that is not their own. It's exclusively centered in the pleasure of the beloved. And the beloved is the absolute himself. So Guru Maharaj concludes saying, hankering for Krishna is realized when one hankers for nothing other than the highest truth. When one cannot live another moment without true love. That's a standard. When you cannot live for a single moment more without true love, that's what we call real hankering. This hankering, it is described in the scriptures as to be the only price for the ultimate union of the soul in love with Krishna. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitam atikriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate tatra laulyam apyakalam molyam janma koti sukritaruna labhyate. Krishna Das Kaviraj quotes Srila Rupa Goswami in his Chaitanya Charitamrita with this verse, which speaks about the price to pay if you want to attain Krishna Bhakti Rasa. Bhavita, if you want your consciousness, your intelligence to be fully embedded, engrossed in Krishna Bhakti Rasa. Interestingly, to say that Srila Prabhupada gave the name to his society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The concept of Krishna consciousness came through this verse. For him, Krishna consciousness was fully engrossed in Krishna Bhakti Rasa, to the point of not being able to live one single extra moment without true love. So we really understand what's the ultimate reach of such a society. And that's not only limited to a particular institution, of course. So this is a very important verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, very famous, very nice one. Guru Maharaj translates itself in poetry, so I will quote that. It's very nice. He says, that heart absorbed in Krishna rasa so rare. Oh friend, if you can find that rasa anywhere, be quick to buy. How much the soul's in need. In that bazaar, there's posted just one price. Millions of pious works will not suffice. The only cost is paid in coins of greed. Very beautifully, this is depicted. The only price to pay, the only currency in that realm is greed. And greed, as Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta will say, there is no greed for anything else. So your greed is not diluted in many directions. It's not multi-branched, but it's vyabhyasayatmaka, in one direction, ekaha, fully condensed, to the point of, if you do not obtain the object of your greed, you feel, I cannot live any longer for a single moment. So this is the point where the gopis are. They feel, I cannot live for a single moment, basically. That's also depicted with the word iti. So let's go again to the verse and to some of its words. The first one is iti, that we mentioned. It meant thus, as said above, etc. So what's implication of thus? Thus means it refers to the point where the gopis find themselves in the fire of their greed, if you will, of the divine eagerness. They are about to die. That's the point. So iti refers to that, the very last moment of the gopis' life, just on the verge of death. So iti, strictly speaking, will mean here mrityu, which means death. The gopis had reached the 10th and final stage, dying internally because of not being able to reach the beloved. Of course, they won't die in every sense of the term, and Krishna will reappear, but they're just about to die, basically. So that's the idea that Sukadev wanted to convey to the Raj by starting the verse with iti. In such a condensed emotional surcharged experience, the gopis fall to the ground in full eagerness, Krishna Darshana Lalasa. So iti gopya pragayantya. So let's go to pragayantya again. Pragayantya has had to do with singing forth, having sung forth. Also, one meaning of pragayantya refers to the Gopi Gita, as we already explained, not only being sung by one gopi, different gopis from different groups and different levels, but also it is said that it's not limited to the 19 verses we have discussed, because the idea is there were many more in a particular way, on different moods. And they're in particular mood right now. At this precise moment here, there is no necessity for the gopis to hide their prem. So they are openly expressing their feelings to some degree or another. And regarding expressing their emotions, remember, gopi meant, as we mentioned, protecting Krishna, the one who protects Krishna's senses. But also gopi may mean in this connection that they are protecting or hiding their own emotions, as they have trying to do along the Gopi Gita through indirect speech and things like this. But at this precise point, it's no longer possible in separation. And it reaches a point where they just are exploding, if you will. Where, like, for example, when the gopis say to Krishna, put your feet on our breasts, such a statements, extraordinary statement, generally express themselves in separation. Generally, gopis won't say that face to face to Krishna openly and so on. So, of course, through this viraha, through this type of separation, also Krishna is trying to say something to the gopis, to the world, as we will see eventually in the future classes. But one of the implications, secret implications, he's implying to Krishna secretly that he opened her heart, Radha's heart, through his disappearance. As we are seeing, Krishna disappeared, and Radha's heart has flourished more and more, further and further in separation, and thus leading all of the other gopis. So the bhav, which was hidden very deeply in her heart, was now opened, coming to the surface. That was Krishna wanted to look at, to appreciate, to have the darshan of. So here, let's share some words about this idea of separation and all the implications there. They say that for a person who is in separation, like the gopis are here, the only power you have there is crying. That's your main tool, if you will. So that's why the Radha and the gopis are engaging in bilap. This is called bilap in Sanskrit, like which means lamentation. Like the famous book of Raghunath of Das Goswami, Bilap Kusumanjali, which means a bouquet of flower-like flower-like lamentations. So each verse will be like a flower expressing a particular type of lamentation in separation from the objects of one's love and affection. So this way the gopis were singing, and pragayantya, also the gopis were speaking as male woman, as we say. Pragayantya has to be with speaking. So the gopis sometimes express their feelings openly, fully, through full prayers, if you will. Sometimes they, because of the different emotional state, they may just invoke half a prayer, sometimes no word at all, so only some hints and gestures, or at this precise moment, exclusively through weeping and crying. That's their ultimate language, if you will. They have taken shelter in weeping as their exclusive way of expressing what's going on in their hearts. Jiva Goswami comments in this connection in his Lagu Vaishnava Tochani. He mentions that pralapantyas, which has to do with speaking, means that the gopis were softly speaking some meaningless words, like again, my woman being overwhelmed by the pangs of separation. And the word chitrada that we will see, which it's qualifying both pragayantya and pralapantyas. Chitrada has to do with very astonishing, very amazing way they were singing and they were speaking. So iti gopya pragayantya pralapantyas chitrada. Pralapantyas, as we mentioned, means having spoken forth, expressed. So the gopis were not able, some of them, to complete their prayers or their gestures. So only through the eventually rududu suswaram raja. Rududu means through the crying they express their emotions here. So pragayantya means here that pragayantya again goes, sorry I'm coming and going, but that's the dynamics of the verse and the commentaries. Pragayantya iti gopya pragayantya, singing, means that the gopis are no longer hiding their bhav. But interestingly, pralapantyas, which means speaking, means that at the same time the gopis are not able to fully express that bhav. No? At one point they are not able to hide that any longer, but when they want to express at the same time, they are not fully able to do that. And so in this way they start, you have the words, you have the gestures, and you have the rududu, eventually the crying. So crying at this precise moment, at this level of separation, it's the only power that the gopis had with them. But this crying, as we mentioned, Sukadeva Goswami describes it as suswaram, rududu suswaram rajam, melodious crying, full of rag. Again, rag means melody, and as we explained, rag means also attachment. So it's full of both types of rag, very melodious and attached crying, and that's where it's melodic. It's not strident, you say in English, strident, like noisy crying for one's ears. Like, I don't know, if you have a baby of 3 months and you are flying, you're having a flight on the plane and you have 8-hour plane and a baby's next to your seat, you know what does it feel like? Hell. So that's not sustaram, rududu sustaram. That's not very melodic crying. But the gopis one was crying full of content, affectionate content. So that's what gives the melody. That's what gives the sweetness, basically. So rududu suswaram rajam. So rajam, this word comes after suswaram, after very sweet. Rajan, again, main meaning is king, Sukadeva referring to Parikshit. But one of the meanings of Rajan, also apart from king, refers to something very beautiful. So that means again, it's referring to the lamentation of the gopis. So it's further qualifying their lamentation as very beautiful lamentation, even though it may sound as an oxymoron. So this means how, even though although the gopis were lamenting, both them and their lamentation still were beautiful in that precise moment. Even though it sounds like a tragic, pathetic scenario, totally undesirable, Sukadev Goswami is poetically describing this scene as beautiful in every sense of the term, because they were expressing themselves with so much eagerness and humility. Important point here also for us, especially for us as sadhakas. We are striving to be humble. We are not humility yet, as Archana Siddhi put that the other day in the Jaipur retreat. Eventually you will become humility itself. But now we are striving to be humble. So we need perfected examples of that to nurture our project. So here, in the whole Gopi Gita, this humility is beautifying. When the gopis express themselves with so much humility, as we are seeing, that's beautifying, ornamenting their lamentation, basically. So that's an ornamented lamentation. Because again, if you have love, there will be humility. One of the types of humility, as we know, is that who has love will feel, I don't have love for Krishna, and I will lament for that. There will be an unquenched thirst for more. There is never enough. That's the nature of divine love. So in this context, the gopis will express lamentation, suffering, but at the same time, that will be full of beauty, full of sweetness. This very famous quote of Shelley that Tulasidhar Maharaj used to share when he was speaking about this type of topics, that says, our sweetest songs are those who tell us about the saddest tales. So this applies totally here. There's also in the Christian tradition, there's one place called like the Valley of the Lyrium. I don't know how to say in English this flower, lyrium. Lirio is in Spanish. So this is in Europe. So it is to say that it's a flower that came through the tears of Mary while Jesus was being crucified. So she was crying, and the tears eventually formed a flower. Lamentation invoked sweetness, fragrance. So the idea of tears producing something sweet, of course, requires a different type of thinking. And of course, the whole Gopi Gita, the whole Bhagavad itself is inviting us for a different type of thinking. Tatvat Visargo Janataga Viplavo. Tatvat Visargo, the Bhagavad is another creation altogether. So another creation requires another type of thinking. It's spoken in Samadhi Bhashya, in the language of trance, so you have to enter into trance to fully grasping its meaning. So here we are in the very much more trance-like sections of the Bhagavad that requires trance from us as well. So from one side of the other, we have to get to this idea. This seems to be a lamentation, it seems to be suffering, but at the same time, it's living together with sweetness and beauty. So if we have to develop a particular psychology to make sense of these so-called contradictory combinations that are not actually contradictory, but are fully complementary, and in the highest level of synthesis, you will find that. In the highest level of beauty, you will find some type of suffering, some type of lamentation. And in the highest level of lamentation, you will find the highest level of beauty. But for understanding all these apparent contradictory things, you have to learn to love. And the power of love has the capacity of harmonizing all the things that nowadays are a problem and a dilemma for us. It's not a dilemma for the gopis. They have another problem, if you will, another dilemma, as we see. So Balabhacharya also further confirms this in his commentary, speaking about the humility of the gopis. He said the meekness of devotees is the sole cause, the unique cause for achieving Hari's satisfaction. And once he's satisfied, he ends all difficulties everywhere, like implying he will appear. He's fully satisfied with the gopis, he will end all difficulty. But what attracts mainly to them is the meekness, the humility. So let's share some words about humility in this context, because it's a very important reason for Krishna to reappear, being totally cut. If you take humility out from this Gopi Gita, you have no longer Gopi Gita, basically. So this extreme humility is a very fundamental underlying principle in the life of a Prema Bhakta. So the humility actually let's consider it as the heart of our bhajan, the mother of bhakti. So many ways we can praise humility. The heart of our bhajan, the mother of our bhakti. As the more humility you have there, the more bhakti is there. As much bhakti is there, the more humility is there. Sanatana Goswami mentioned this cause and effect relationship between the two. The further one thing is there, the other one will be coming, and one is fueling the other continuously. So humility is like the crest jewel of all devotional entities, something that never fails in attracting Hari. Hari is supreme attractive, but he feels special attractive to this infallible meekness. So we can engage in sadhana for lifetimes after lifetime, but if there is no humility, our bhajan won't be enough, basically. We can really endeavor in bhajan, but only through our personal endeavor, Hari won't be satisfied. But through daimya, through humility, he will be. So the conclusion, of course, is our effort, our endeavor has to go in the direction of humility. Our sadhana and bhajan has to go in the direction of daimya, of meekness. And in this way, Krishna will feel, the bumblebee will feel attracted to that particular sweetness. That is, there is sweetness in humility, in real humility. So here we are witnessing the ideal example of this in the figure of, in the gopis through the Gopi Gita. Rupa Goswami emphasized this point also in his Kalika Valari. He makes a play of words between Kripa and Kripana. So Kripa means mercy, and Kripana means miser. Even the sound in English sounds similar. Mercy, miser. Kripa, Kripana. So if you are miser, sometimes it means how you feel with yourself in full humility. If you are real humble, you may feel, there's so much miserliness in myself yet. So that type of being miser will attract mercy. That type of going through the Kripana stage will attract Kripa. So in this way, the gopis were here together, singing, all of them, but Krishna was not appearing yet. So they start to cry without an end. And only then Krishna will appear. So that's an important point. You want Krishna to appear in your life? Okay, you know when he will appear. Like a boy, the example is given, like a baby crying for the mother. Baby may be hungry, and at the beginning he's just waiting for the mother to be omniscient and know about that, but she doesn't appear. So eventually he will cry. He will take shelter in weeping. And he will realize, oh, this is working. Every time I cry, I'm calling mama. She comes and feeds me. So that becomes a standard process, means for him. So in this way, mother will come running after even. If not, maybe she may not come at all. So if we really want something, the baby really wants the milk, he will express that the lalas, his eagerness, through crying. So if I really want something, hunger for something, and I don't have that, crying will come automatically, actually. That's the point. If I two things on the scale, if I really need something on one side, and second, if I don't have it, but I really want it. So I won't have to think, I will cry for that. Naturally, crying will come. Again, we are not just trying to learn some theater-like techniques for crying and attracting Krishna, but really developing a proper eagerness and a proper consciousness of we don't have what we want. And even if we have it, we can have it in so greater degrees that we may continue feel, I don't have it, it's not enough. That will increase and increase and increase. So tears will be there as soundtrack accompanying the whole thing. So if we are praying to Krishna, to say, if we are really praying to Krishna from the bottom of our heart with topmost sincerity, our prayer should manifest itself in the form of tears. Some type of tear. If tears are not coming at all, we may conclude, I'm cheating myself. Still, I'm cheating myself. And there are so many levels of self-cheating. So we have to go deep into those directions. We should cry because we are not crying, as Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta would say. Again, in a healthy way, in a sustainable way. Please understand my point. But this is a point. We have to feel a void. We have to feel a need for further progress, for further attainment, further seva. A bhajan that is performed without that sense of emptiness, a want, without a want, may probably be mechanical. Try to think about yourself in your own practice. Sometimes if you are practicing in a mechanical way, it means you are not feeling any necessity at all. There's no eagerness. There's no crying, of course. You may feel, I have food, I have home, I have everything I need, I'm okay. No, you are not okay. If you feel that because of those things you are okay, because all those things are in place, that's okay, your bhajan will lack real life. So we have to infuse newer and newer life to our bhajan over and over again. And of course, there are different types of tears. We are speaking about very specific ones. For example, a bhada jiva, a conditioned soul, will cry because of material attachment, and useless lamentation, basically. A sadhak may cry because of sincere repentance. Mahaprabhu said, I'm crying because I'm not crying. That's a type of valid, real, legal crying. And of course, you can cry because of ecstasy. Another level of tears, like the gopis here, like a Sita, will express a separation from Krishna. Or even in union, another types of tears, of joy in union. There are tears in suffering, separation. There will be different, another type of tear, hot, cold, and so on. Different type of pains. Some of them perceived in the material mind or in the depth of the heart. So the ones who can suffer the most in the heart are the most exalted ones, basically. So here, of course, the pain of separation is extracting a depth even greater in connection to feeling. As Guru Maharaj will say, separation makes the heart grow ponder. So the gopis are passing the test. Somehow or other, if you want, we can express in terms. Krishna disappeared and he put the gopis to test. And Krishna, they are passing the test with extreme good qualification. So the real test is separation. That's the point. And we have to accept the test. You cannot get union with Krishna without separation from him. And if you are not going through separation, there won't be a union. And if you go through separation, you have to pass the test of separation. There are so many levels of that. So we need to be prepared and to increase our experience of separation in a, again, healthy way, sustainable way, but intense, eager way at the same time. So we need guidance for that. In the beginning, we may not understand these topics too much. We may even feel some rejection towards that. We may feel, this is crazy, they're all suffering, I don't want that, or so many things. But that's what, all of that happens because we do not know how to love yet. So since we don't know what real love is, we don't understand implicit sweetness in the pain of separation. We just feel we are seeing pain. That's only speaking about us, not about what we think we are seeing. We see the gopis say, oh, poor ladies, they are just suffering. Please stop suffering, meditate in Brahman. As Ramachandra Puri suggested to Madhavendra Puri. You don't know how to love. You don't understand what's going on. So that's why we need a guru. That's why we need good guidance to learn to cry. We don't know how to cry. We don't know how to appreciate. We cry, but it doesn't mean we know how to cry. There are different types of crying, so to say. So we need to learn how to cry. That's what we call bhajan, actually. Bhajan is not just mere worship. I do some puja, I offer something to Krishna, I'm happy, I have what I need, I'm offering something to him. That's my bhajan. No, bhajan means you are learning to cry. Gaur Govinda Maharaj said that when he opened his ashram. This is I'm opening here a crying school. That was it means to practice, to engage in sadhana. Gurudev, teach me how to cry. Teach me how to advance through separation according to my present situation. And again, you have to understand that that's a natural symptom of love. When you are full in love, at the same time, there is an emptiness to that, and some lalasa, some eagerness is that. Unsatiable, you say in English? That's the nature of love. This is a very famous statement section of in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Give me some few minutes only more. Where, in the first part, 7th chapter, there Narad Muni. Narad, first part is speaking mainly about Narad. So Narad Muni is praying for one boon. He asks some blessing to Krishna. Say, "Oh, Sri Krishna Chandra, may by your mercy, may nobody ever be satiated with their love and devotion for you. For you are transcendental, bliss personified. You are Ananda Vigraha. So that's the boon. May nobody ever be satiated." So the boon, the request may sound weird, but let's see what Krishna says in reply. He'll say, "Oh, Narada, you're the teacher of all clever arts. What kind of boon do you seek from me?" Actually, he's surprised, but not because of the boon is weird, because that's already going on. So Krishna will say, "My devotion, my mercy, my love, they are naturally inexhaustible, all of them." So you already know about that. You have wondered about every place, everywhere, starting from Prayag Tirtha, this place, hearing about my devotees and seeing them. This is narrated in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, also Narad's journey. So you've seen many of my devotees, and all of them are the objects of my mercy. They have all their desires fulfilled, and they can deliver the whole world. Although you see that there are different levels of devotees, you cannot see that any one of them, Krishna says to Narada, any one of them is ever satiated with their devotion to me. So Krishna concludes, well, so therefore please pray for another boon to me. I cannot bless that one because that's already happening. They are not fully satiated in the context of ecstasy. So you follow the point. So in other words, we need to find, like the famous example of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, as we mentioned, the Buddha saying, "Oh, Guru Maharaj, we feel fully satisfied." And he will say, "What? Is that possible? Is that possible?" He felt like this is not possible. So the devotee should know how our bhajan is going on. It's good, it's bad. Well, you should, if you will know that your bhajan is in a deceased, sick state, if you feel satiated in your sadhana. That's a good way of measuring where are you standing on. If you feel satiated in your sadhana, your bhajan is in diseased condition. So you can measure that's a direct way of saying that, but you can measure your advancement. Again, not becoming neurotic, but understanding how things should eventually progress. So one can measure one's advancement and taste for bhajan in the way in which one is greedy, again, eager, and that means unsatisfied with spiritual flavors. Not because we're insulting them, but that's how it works. It's ever increasing. It is said that the devotee in Bhava Bhakti is having spurtis of Krishna, which for us it's just something that we may not even imagine what that might be like. And for that devotee, that's something intense. But for the Premi Bhakta, the one in Prem above Bhava, those spurtis are no longer enough. She has no taste for that. It's a very subjective experience. So according to where we are, we should be able to establish some level of healthy thirst and greed, sustainable and realistic according to our present situation. Some eagerness somehow or other. So this is going on a daily basis for us and for everyone. To say that, for example, in the Nitya Lila, in the Ashtakaya, in the Astaniyam, in the eternal dynamics, when Sri Radha joins with Krishna at night, and the other day in the morning she's waking up, one Suhrit Saki, Shamala Gopi, one friend of Radha, comes and wants to engage in Rasodgar with Radha. Rasodgar means like recalling what happened the previous night between Radha and Krishna. So eventually Radha is speaking not fully direct, trying to hide her feelings, but eventually she says, well, actually, I don't feel I have union with Krishna at all, even though she had. But the nature of the union is that you already feel I didn't have, because I don't have it now. What I had was like a thunderbolt in the midst of the dark night. So when the thunderbolt comes, it illuminates everything, but when it disappears, the darkness becomes even darker. So to the point of rather subjectively feeling I never was united with Krishna at all, ever. Imagine the peak of her experience. And that, of course, takes her to a further union and so on ad infinitum. So somehow or other, we should feel this hankering, this crying. No, we may, as I sometimes say, we may make a very noisy kirtan, and maybe Krishna is not hearing us, even though we are using 3 mridangas and wampers and so on. But he will hear, indeed, the sound of one single tear falling from a very intimate and sincere prayer, and crying in the chant, even though nobody else is hearing that, even nobody else is knowing about that. Krishna will take notice of that. So that's another way of referring to kirtan. So as we say, bhajan means learning to cry, and kirtan we can call it also the yoga of crying. In Sanskrit, we call it like rudana yoga, the yoga of weeping, the yoga of crying. We should enter into these things more and more. So in this way, just to conclude some few minutes, the gopis here are led by Sri Radha. Remember, she took whole lead of the kirtan, the Gopi Gita. All the gopis from different moods are taking shelter in her mood, and all of them are here crying, just weeping and weeping on the verge of death, praying for Krishna to reappear, Krishna darshana lalasa, so they may be able to serve Krishna, to save Krishna. So this Gopi Gita, which is a kirtan, which is a song, which is a crying, all these things, this Gopi Gita could also be known because of how Radha is leading the whole song. We may call it Radha Gita as well also. Because at this moment, at this precise moment, all are fully empathic, with the mood of Radha. Not only the gopis, but even the audience, at least most of them, they are accepting Anugatya or following the mood of Radha. Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadev, other devotees fully imbibed in that particular mood. And we know this Gopi Gita is ultimately delivering Radha Bhav, the mood of Radha, the Radha. And that's why the narration has become so intense at this precise moment, because it's delivering something so intense. So it is said that because of such intensity, another possibility of the word Rajan in this verse, because of the intensity of the narration and of the absorption in the mood of Radharani, Parikshit Maharaj has fainted, along with the other devotees present in the audience. They have entered into a zoom. Because they were feeling extreme pain by hearing about the pain of the gopis in the Gopi Gita. So they lost awareness because they were fully involved in the narration. That really means Shravanam. Shravanam Kirtana. We really become engrossed, become part of that. So since Parikshit Maharaj lost consciousness, this is also why Sukadeva in this verse saying Rajan. Rajan means, oh king. Like when you want to awake someone who is sleeping, or what to say. If you are sleeping is one thing. If you are entering into a zoom, you need to speak further, louder. So that's why to say also, Sukadeva say Rajan, O king, trying to take Parikshit back to external consciousness out of that deep mood of affliction, which is headed by Sri Radha herself. So that's one name of the Gopi Gita, Radha Gita being led by her. But also some other names are there, unofficial names, non-official names of the Gopi Gita. One name that sometimes is mentioned is Krishna Akarshini Gita, which means the song which akarshana, which attracts Krishna. We make Krishna becoming present. As much as they worship me, I reciprocate. So Krishna will come back, that's the point. He will reciprocate. Even though he's not able to fully reciprocate, as we all see, he will reciprocate on one level. Also, another name for the Gopi Gita is Krishna Basikarana Mantra, interestingly. Basikarana Mantra means a mantra which you use for controlling some person, like in the context of magic, manipulating one with sound you can control and make the other person do what you want. So Gopi Gita sometimes is called as Krishna Basikarana Mantra. If you want to control Krishna, I want to make Krishna appear, that will happen by reciting this Gopi Gita. Even there on a daily basis, or sometimes that's also performed as a brat or sadhana by some with this idea in mind. Krishna is saying, Ham tishtami vaikunte yoginam hridayesu va tatra tishtami narada tadvayanti tamam bhaktya. Whatever my devotees are, I'm not in Vaikuntha, I'm not in the heart of the yogis, I'm there with my gopis, are my devotees, my gopis are singing about me with deep love. I'm attracted there, I cannot leave that place. So again, the point is Krishna is hearing this prayer of the gopis, this song, this crying, and the gopis' words are penetrating his heart. He's not cruel, actually. He's their life breath and their life itself, basically. So when the gopis are weeping, speaking in this way, Krishna's heart is totally melting at this point. So in the same way, when the child is crying in a helpless condition, and the mother is coming, running immediately by hearing such a cry, at this point of the gopis crying, Krishna was not able to contain himself any longer. He was totally overwhelmed, actually, by witnessing such a degree of prem. So he was thinking just at this point, I should not conceal myself any longer. I must appear before them. So that's what we will see in next verse. So the point is, somehow or other, for us as sadhakas, our kirtan should produce an effect like that. And we should chant in such a way that Krishna may feel, I can't hide myself any longer from that. At least progress in that direction. Our chanting of Krishna Nam should awake this type of eagerness in us. So when this eagerness is being awakened, well, we can know that the perfection of our life is not too far, basically. So in this way, Krishna reappeared, and in the words, will reappear. In the words of Sanatana Goswami, his Brihad Vaishnava Tosani, he mentioned, by this, in this way, it is shown, he concludes, that Krishna is obtained by the highest pain. But highest not in the degree of miserable, but highest because there is prem, the topmost type of pain, adorned with sweetness, humility, and eagerness. So in this way, the gopis here are crying, and they are showing to us the way, the means to the goal, crying. Krishna himself, by seeing the degree of the gopis crying, will feel, I want to experience that experience. I want to experience that crying. So he will appear as Mahaprabhu and cry and cry and cry and cry in Lila, Gaur Lila, especially in Puri with Pralamba Kshetra, the land of crying. So all of them are showing to us the way. Like once someone asked Bamsidas Babaji Maharaj, how to attain the goal of life, Krishna Prem, and it was the shortest lecture ever given in the story of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Only one word. He said, cry. End of the lecture, he said. So how can you see Krishna? Cry. When real sincere tears will come, your eyes will be really anointed by Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilamuchanena. So weeping is our real dharma, the yoga of crying. And this is headed by Sri Radha, as we have seen, by the gopis here in the Gopi Gita, with full humility. And only in this way, that type of call will really invite Krishna to be present, to make himself present in our life. So some words I wanted to share today. Sorry for the extension. Actually, we started a little later today. So some words regarding this first verse of this following chapter next to the Gopi Gita, that further qualifies, give further context to the glory of this song, and from which side will Krishna be reappearing. That will be seeing that tomorrow in our next lecture. So I don't know if there's any questions before finishing today. Okay, so we have no questions today. Thank you very much to all of you for your time and attention and sincerity and eagerness, hopefully, and humility. So see you tomorrow. We will continue with verse number 2 from chapter 32. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Gopi Gita ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premananda Haribo, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nanta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Haribo.
Radha Swami ki jai.